Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I am one of the two hosts of this podcast. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Megan Hibbard. Are you fired up on this Monday?
Hello, fired up.
We're halfway through summer. Can you believe it?
I cannot.
It's the middle of we have a fifth season here in South Carolina. We're just entering it, and that is the season of Inferno.
Yes.
And so we are currently cooking.
I hope we're cooking.
Yeah.
Like, I like the Inferno season.
You do?
I do.
You only like that because you have the alternative of walking indoors with air conditioning.
Well,
What did people do when they lived here in the Southeast or in the desert, like Arizona and New Mexico, when there was not air condiending? I mean, can you believe? I'm so glad for engineers who figured that out.
But we have the boat, so you can go on the boat, and it feels good.
You have the boat.
That's right. Well, you could get one, too.
Yeah, I could
And then
get
we
one.
could go out.
Yeah.
Our families could go out
We
together.
could race boats.
That would be so fun.
Yes.
You should do it.
Okay, that's it. It's going in the budget. I'll have to talk with Jen Sangle and get approval from the budget committee. But we're episode number what?
107.
Speeding our way to number 200.
Yes.
We are at episode 107. It is July 20th. Good morning, everybody, on this Monday. I hope that you're winning with your money and ready to take another step towards winning with your money. And today we have a great topic, one of the top questions we always get whenever we go do a live event. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, today we are talking about budgeting with irregular income. So our question is, I really want to learn how to budget, but my family doesn't have predictable income. I'm a hairstylist, and my husband, he is a commissioned salesperson. Can you help us prepare a budget?
Wow.
This is a good spot to be in because a lot of people we hear, which I'm going to talk about this later in the episode, they say, I can't budget because I'm a hairstylist and my husband is a commissioned salesperson.
And it turns out a ton of people earn unpredictable income.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it. And I always say to those who say that I cannot budget because I have unpredictable or irregular income, I don't know how much I'm going to make each month. I tell them not only can you budget, you need a budget more than anybody.
Yep.
So we can help you, and we can't wait to do that. So be ready for that. But first, we're going to tell you about our featured resource of the month.
Yes, our featured resource for the month is the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not 40-Day Budget Challenge. If you want to become great at managing your money, this is the challenge for you. So the last few months have been super challenging and taxing on our finances. So learn how you can master budgeting in 2020. The 40-Day Budget Challenge will help you eliminate financial stress, gain control of your money, move towards your plans, hopes, and dreams, and gain a new perspective on your money and life. So for a limited time, you can join the challenge for only $29.99. So just visit iwbnin.com/help to register.
Yes, and so we love these challenges. We love the number of people that have signed up for them and went through each of them. We have the budget challenge. We also, from time to time, have a savings challenge, and we're working on an investing challenge. Get fired up.
Breaking news.
But here's what we know is this budget challenge, the first 10 days, we focus on helping you get your budget put together, a lot of tips, a lot of helpful information, and then, of course, the biggest part, sticking with it. So the next 30 days is about helping you stick with it, giving you encouragement and helpful stuff along the way. So I really hope you'll take a chance on it to maybe make a new habit on the back end of 2020. Just go to iwbnin.com/help to register for it today.
Yeah.
Now we get to go to one of my favorite parts of the podcast. You know what time that is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. Take your finances to the next level by utilizing our financial tools and calculators. Visit iwbnin.com, click on Tools, Budget Templates, Debt Freedom Date Calculators, Retirement Calculators, Investment Calculators. They're all right there at your fingertips, and they're all free.
Yes. And so today's current money event section is about the federal unemployment rate and unemployment, really, period.
Yes.
Unemployment has been happening a lot around the United States. Now, the federal unemployment offered a special extra payment of $600 a week for 13 weeks for all of those that were unemployed due to the pandemic. That extra payment, newsflash, ding, 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 is set to end in 11 days. It's sooner if you're not listening to this exactly when it comes out on Monday morning on the 20th.
Why wouldn't you?
It ends July 31, 2020. Now, the national average state unemployment was $371.88 a week. So you can imagine how that $600 on top of that
Yeah.
Woo, big money. A lot of people made more money through unemployment than they were making working.
Yes.
So that $600 a week was added to it, but it's going to run out. Now, the state benefits will run for an extra 3 months for 13 extra weeks from 26 weeks to 39 weeks.
That's nice.
That's important to know.
Yeah.
Now, this is trying to hold together people's financial futures so that everything that they had maybe built up before the pandemic is kind of preserved at the best way possible. And let me tell you, the Sangle angle. Ding, 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 ding. The Sangle angle on this is where we are going to begin uncovering the true condition of the economy. The government has pumped in nearly $3 trillion into the economy. Yes, I said trillion. Via things like this extra unemployment benefit and the Paycheck Protection Program, the CARES Act, Families First. Now, what I would encourage all of our listeners to do is to be informed. Watch the unemployment report each week. Obviously, we want to see unemployment get back into single digits and see new unemployment claims dwindling and see new jobs added exceeding new unemployment claims. That shows a returning and growing economy and people going back to work again. So that matters a lot. Now watch this. You can win with your money, but we must have the economy growing overall. If you don't, it becomes very difficult for the collective group of Americans and really the world to continue to grow financially. And so we encourage you to watch that unemployment report each week. If you don't want to watch it, we'll give you updates from time to time here on the wildly popular Monday Money Tip podcast. We got you. So that's it for today's current money event section. Did you like that?
I did.
Short and sweet.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. So our success story today comes from Kristi, and Kristi wrote, "My husband and I have been working hard on following our I minus O equals easy." So that's
Income minus outgo equals exactly zero. Trademark.
Budget. Have been using cash only and have paid $500 per week towards debt that we normally paid $0 on.
Wow.
Working on non-house debt first, which should take us a year. And they met with Red Cedar. That's one of the churches we've been to.
Up in Wisconsin.
Internal team to help create goals. So that's awesome. Thanks for the signed copy of your book. Excited for the future.
Well, that's awesome, Kristi. And so let me tell you, she says a couple things. We've been working hard on following their budget. And that's truth. It feels like hard work to stick with the budget. Preparing the budget, that's challenging enough. But it's easy compared to actually living it. And so, man, that's great. You're doing great work. $500 a week towards debt. Think about that. That's a huge number. It doesn't say per month. So that's like $2,000 a month. So they are going to hammer out some debt in a hurry. And you know what? That's made possible because of focus, because they have new, renewed energy, they've got vision, and because they have a budget. Yep. So congratulations, Kristi. Way to go.
Awesome. All right. Our question for today, just to remind you guys, is I really want to learn how to budget, but my family doesn't have predictable income. I'm a hairstylist, and he is a commission salesperson. Can you help us prepare a budget? So like I said earlier, we hear this question all the time, but it usually starts with, I can't prepare a budget because my income is unpredictable. But like Joe said, you can, and you need to more than anyone. So let's start with step number one. Step number one is to recognize it.
Yeah. I mean, this person with this question definitely recognized that they have crazy income.
Which is a huge step.
And most people recognize they have crazy income, but here's what I mean by recognize it. Is just saying I have crazy income is not recognizing it. Doing something different on how you manage your money because of that. Yeah. That's what I mean by recognize it. Because you can't just say, oh, I have crazy income, I can't budget. That means you're just saying I'm a victim, that I have weird income. And I say, you know, that is no way to operate. You will not win. Yeah. You can't. You know, I run a lot. I've ran 2 full marathons, 26.2 miles. I've ran, I don't even know how many 10Ks and 5Ks, a lot of them, dozens and dozens of them. And I remember that I was talking to my brother once, one of my brothers, I have 5 of them. And I was talking to him about the fact that I was going to lose X amount of weight. I wanted to get down a little less weight because, you know, any extra weight that you carry as a runner is heavy. Yeah. And he said, how are you going to do that? And I told him, well, I'm going to run this many miles a week. And he says, that's great. What are you going to do about your diet? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you can't outrun a bad diet. I've seen your Instagram pictures of your food that you're eating. And I was like, oh. And that's a great statement. You cannot outrun a bad diet. You just can't do it.
Right.
If you run, I don't care how much you run, if you do not eat right, you will not lose the weight. You will not be in the best running shape that you could be in. The same is true that you cannot out-earn poor money management habits. That's your bad diet. You just can't out-earn it. You can't out-commission. And that's what I know about all these hairstylists, commission real estate people, commission salespeople. They feel like for some reason, well, I can pick up this extra work. I can have this person come in. They give a big tip. You know, I can get this special highlights thing done, and it's going to be an extra $200 haircut. You know, and they feel like they can out-earn their craziness with mismanagement of money. Let me tell you, you can definitely earn more money, but if you don't have a plan for it, if you don't recognize it, listen, you won't do something about it. And usually when people do this and they don't recognize it, they consequently have what I call a feast-famine lifestyle. They have periods of time with excess cash and other times when they just outright lack. And they usually spend all their feast time catching up on past due bills, deferred spending, and enter into the famine period again with no reserves. So you got to recognize it. And then to recognize it means to do something about it.
Yes.
Hey, listen. You're driving to work today. You're listening to this podcast. Do you have irregular income? Hey, have you recognized it? What are you doing about it? All right. So let's talk about number 2.
Okay. So once you recognize it, step number 2 is to determine monthly expenses.
Yes. And so what I encourage you to do, if you have irregular, seasonal, or cyclical income, is use our free budget template and begin with the outgo side of the budget. So instead of putting in the income because it's not predictable, put it in your outgo. Put in all of your fixed expenses, that the mortgage or the rent payment, have your power bills on equal payment plans, smooth all that stuff out. Make sure that you're saving for known upcoming non-monthly expenses every single month. So Christmas, have savings in there every month for your annual or semi-annual insurance premiums, for life insurance or property taxes. Make sure that you have things like vacation in there and you're saving for every month. And then put in your variable expenses, things that do go up and down. Maybe it's your gasoline expenses. Maybe it's grocery bill. I don't know what it is, but put it in there and make them as fixed as possible. And here's what I will tell you is by doing this, what you're really doing is you're calculating the salary that you need to pay yourself from your monthly income.
That's good.
So here's what I just want to tell you. When you have seasonal, cyclical, or irregular income, you won't always earn that amount each month. And so what we're doing is calculating a salary. And I want you to know, if you're a hairstylist, you're a commission salesperson, I want you to know you are a business. You need to keep that income separate from your household bank accounts.
Yeah.
Because it will drive you crazy. And so I encourage you to have a separate bank account for your income. And we go to step number 3, after you've recognized it and you know your monthly salary, you determine your monthly expenses you need to make your household work every month. Then you have to do what?
So number 3 is you have to build a known slumps fund.
Yeah, a known slumps fund. Here's why we call it a known slumps fund, a KSF. It's because if you have seasonal, cyclical, or irregular income, you know one thing for sure, especially if you've done this for a couple years. You have periods where you make very little money. You have other periods that are peaks where you make a lot of money. Let me give an example of a hairstylist. Now, let me tell you, in November, December, oh, those hairstylists, they making the money. It's a season of giving. Everybody getting their hair did because they want everybody to look and comment on their hair.
They're over-tipping.
The nail salons are over-tipping because they're feeling very generous and benevolent. January is like, where are my people? Where'd they go? I have no clients. And my clients who are here, they're complaining about the cost of anything, and their tips dried up. Do I even have a going enterprise?
Yeah.
Am I a terrible hairstylist? I think I'm going to retire or quit, right? That's what you think. And so if you mow lawns for a living, well, let me tell you, in the summertime, grass grows a lot. In the wintertime, not so much.
Yeah. And
so here's what you've got to recognize: that income, determine your monthly need, and then during the periods of plenty, store up. You know, in Genesis 41:34, Joseph stored up during the times of plenty, 20%, so that you could cover the 7 years of famine. The same is true. And so I encourage you to build this known slump fund. Where do you build it? In that little business account you created. That's where your income comes into. You save that money there. Now, it doesn't have to be a business checking account. I'm not saying that. It is for your business. It could be a personal account for your little business. And you build your known slumps fund during the times of plenty, and ideally, and this can vary based on how much your income goes up and down, but here's the guidance. You ready for the guidance, Megan?
Ready.
That you, at the end of that known good period, as you know you're going to descend into, so let's use the hairstylist for example, at the end of December, at the end of that good period, as you enter into a period of slump, you should have 3 months worth of your salary that you calculated that you need to operate each month in your reserves account for your little business account. So let's say you calculated your number, and for your household, you need $3,000 a month. I'm making up a number, $3,000. As you venture into the slumps period, ideally, you would have 3 months worth of that, $9,000 in that savings account. And here's why. Because when your income goes down in January, let's say in Thanksgiving season, man, whoo, you got $5K. Do you live on $5K? No, you lived on $3K. That's your monthly need. And you're saving for Christmas, vacations, and everything in that number. So what do you do with your extra $2K? Put it in the slumps fund. December, woo, it went even crazier. You got $6,000 of business and tips. Woo, it's awesome. Do you live on $6,000? Do you spend extra on Christmas? No, you stick with the plan. Why? Because you know the slump is coming.
Yeah.
January is coming. And so you put the extra $3K into the slumps fund. Now you have $9,000 as you venture into January. January is a terrible month. Cancellations, people don't show up. The people who show up are grumpy and talking about their credit card bill, complaining about the cost of everything, complaining about your haircut, complaining about their life in general, and you earn $1,500 total. But you need $3K to make your household operate. How do you live on $3K? If you don't have your known slumps fund, you're going to live on $1,500 and rent's going to be late. Everything's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Well, and you're going to be mad that you overspent the money. So what do? You take $1,500 from your slumps fund that ideally is $9,000. It goes down to $7,500, and now you have $3,000 to live on this month. February's terrible again. You only got $2,000. You pull $1,000 from the slump fund, it goes from $7,500 to $6,500. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then when times recover, that's great. And you replenish. And so you get a tax refund, replenish. And so I strongly encourage you to build up that known slumps fund. Don't just spend it because you got it. Utilize your great months to fill up that known slumps fund. Utilize money from it to assist your poor income months. That's a huge way for you to prosper with seasonal, cyclical, and irregular income.
Yeah.
And then let's give them you have a thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you've been in a career for longer than a year, so if you've been a hairstylist for longer than a year, you've been in landscaping for longer than a year, you know where your drops are going to come. So you can predict them. So like you said, in January, maybe people aren't going to get it. Obviously, coronavirus season is like extreme. No one could predict. Take that out of the equation for this episode. And so I feel like it's almost like Christmas. Like, December 25th is coming. But yet every year people get surprised that Christmas came. And so it's like, why wouldn't you save? So that's what we're saying. Like, the slump is going to come. So anticipate it, save ahead, have that known slumps fund ready to go so that when that happens, you're not in the feast, or you're not in the famine, but you're still good.
Feasting.
You're still feasting. Yes.
Yeah. And so here's what I would just say to everybody. We have businesses that we operate.
Yes.
And all of our businesses do not make money level full. I'm showing here on YouTube, what level looks like. Our income is absolutely haywire. There are months of tremendous profits.
Yeah.
There are months of catastrophic losses. It's just the nature of the businesses. And the way that we are able to prosper, the way that Jen Sangle allows Joe Sangle to actually operate businesses is because we've prioritized known slumps funds.
Yeah.
We're in the middle recording this stuff on coming out of a pandemic that shut the world down.
Yeah.
And we live these principles. And so we have a known slumps fund. I'm so grateful that we have prioritized margin and a slumps fund.
Me too.
Because it has allowed us to retain our team, to continue to pay our team, to be able to continue to move forward, albeit, with challenges. And we're still facing challenges. But I will tell you this. If we didn't have a known slumps fund, we would have face planted long ago.
Yeah.
But because of this, we're able to stay focused on what we're called to do.
Yeah.
And that is the benefit of prioritizing an own slumps fund. You can stay focused on what you're passionate about. I know every hairstylist, they do that because they love it.
Yeah.
And they don't do it because they want to complain about running out of money and booth rent and all that. They do it because they love it.
Yeah.
I want you to love it and benefit financially and not have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And these simple tweaks can help you do that.
And you might be thinking, like, I'm not there. Like, I don't have the 9,000 saved. So how do I start this? Well, we have lots of resources that can help you take your steps. So we have COVID-19 resources that can help you 10 ways you can save money right now. You know, we have an episode on how to win during a recession.
How to buy and sell on Facebook Marketplace.
We have lots of resources that I'll include a bunch in the show notes. So don't just say like, oh, I'm not there, so I can't do it. So I'm going to give up and keep living the way I am.
How do you build margin?
Yeah.
$1 at a time.
Yeah.
You can do this.
All right. Number 4 is become personally debt-free and operate your business debt-free.
Yes. Now, this is so huge. And I know this seems pie in the sky, but, it's just a fact. And when you are personally debt-free, I can tell you from personal example, your cost of living is very low and it is much more manageable, especially in poor income months. Imagine if your life was free of all debt except for your house. Imagine if your life was debt-free, including your house.
Wild.
Yeah. And debt freedom, it reduces loads of stress, particularly during economic downturns and recessions and depressions. Real estate agents, I've watched this all the time. We have real estate agents that share this office complex. They fall out of the business left and right when economic downturns happen. Why? Because they spent all their money during the good times. Therefore, they cannot survive the poor times. And let me tell you, it is the survivors of economic recessions, whatever the work is, they're the ones that prosper when business returns because they've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Their skill sets haven't waned, and they pounce on opportunity like a puma.
Yeah.
Get fired up.
We have a lot of real estate agents that are good friends of ours that work down at said company that are killing it right now because they've implemented these principles. So
Way to go.
It can be done. All right. Our quote from today is, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. And that's Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, I love it. Isn't that awesome? Money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale from the late, great Zig Ziglar. So true. And so here's one of the things that we talked about, recognize at the start of this. You got to recognize you have irregular income, and you got to recognize you got to have income.
Yeah.
And if you have savings, that can supplement that income when things are challenging. And so tell everybody what we're going to talk about next Monday.
So next Monday, we're going to talk about financial teachers you should learn from. So we are where we are because of teachers in our life. So not only one teacher, but multiple teachers. So this is no different in our financial education. It is in our next episode, we're going to feature some of the financial teachers who have influenced us, and we'll share how they have specifically helped us and pointed us to ways to learn from them too.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of my financial mentors, teachers, those that mentor at a distance, those that are in person, and really listen, I hope you don't get all of your financial advice only from us, only from this podcast. We're grateful that you're part of the podcast, but we want you to get knowledge from a lot of places. Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. I want you to have a lot of advisors in your life. That way you can sift through what works best for you. What works best for us may not work best for you. But I will tell you this, if you get an abundance of counsel, it'll position you for great prospering in the future. We're going to talk about some of those teachers that have influenced us the most. It's going to be so much fun. Now, listen, if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. You can do it by quickly rating our podcast and leaving a review. Those ratings and reviews help others discover our podcast, help us make it better for you, our beloved listeners. And if you've implemented one of our tips, share your success story with us by emailing at info@iwnin.com or commenting on our social media platforms. If you're on YouTube, you can click the little bell to be notified every single time a new episode is released on Monday. Subscribe, click a thumbs up if you liked it. Tell us why you liked it. Put a thumbs down if you're hating it. Tell us why you hated it. Either way, we're glad that you're listening, and we hope that this helped you. Do you have any last thoughts as we move on?
My last thought would be, if you are in this irregular income bucket, it's a lot of people, so don't be afraid take a step. So today, what step can you take to get you towards this plan that we've laid out? So what steps can you get towards having that known slumps fund? Are there things that you can sell to kind of help, replenish that known slumps fund? Maybe you go and you open an account with Ally or with Marcus, and that's where you put your bucket of your known slumps fund, where you can have multiple accounts in there. So what's one thing that you can do today? Opening that account is an easy thing. So maybe you go do that today and then tell us about it.
Every day, take a step. Today's Monday. Hey, it's a perfect time to take that step. We'll see you next Monday. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.